part 6. And we're in K. We just left off with the Kinks. And I did end up buying the Misfits, the Kinks Misfits. I ended up getting another Mobile Fidelity. It looks supposed to be near mint condition for $30. So that's on the way down. And then next we've got King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King. And this is a really good record. If you haven't heard this or you don't know much about King Crimson, a lot of the stuff is a little maybe kind of avant-garde, a little bit different. But this one here is straight up, and this is really, really good stuff on this record. And this is a pretty popular record. There's a lot of versions of this. A lot of people look for that, that Japanese press or that UK first edition, and those go for a lot of money if they're in really nice condition. This one is on an Internaut. Redid this reissue. It's a new reissue. It's a gatefold. Again, superior packaging. 180 gram record. Great sound on it. I'm really, really happy with this record. I think that's a real keeper right there. And then we've got Kraftwerk. If you're not familiar with Kraftwerk, there's Fawn on the Autobahn. That's pretty good. The German group, kind of synthesizer, kind of different. And then Man Machine, We Are the Robots is on there. So I really like those two. And then a little bit of Lenny Kravitz. And then we were talking about this earlier, and I was about the Led Zeppelin, the reissues that was done by Classic Records. And the reason these are so nice is they're 200 gram, of course, and the packaging is probably as good or better than the first editions were when they first came out. Really thick covers, beautiful. I mean, these things are better than new, and of course the sound quality on them is better than any pressing that I've ever heard. And so that's why if you go on eBay, that's why these records sell for so much money, because they are so good. And this was Classic Records, when they did this, was one of the besides Mobile Fidelity, was one of the first labels that came out, and they started doing audiophile quality recordings of rock bands. And of course, Classic Records is no more. They went out of business, like Mobile Fidelity's done so many different times. But an interesting thing about this record, Physical Graffiti, it took them a while. When this one was supposed to come out, it took a while to get reissued, because you see all these windows on here, they're all die cut. And that art of making die cut covers for LPs back in the 90s when they did this, I mean, it was almost like a lost art. They had a hard time finding someone that could do that. And so, but those classic reissues, boy, those are the ones to get if you can do that. And then I've got a couple of the Robert Plant right in here too, with Led Zeppelin. This Pictures at 11 and this Now in Zen. I really like those two. Those are a couple really good records. Let's see what else we got going on here. This is something different if you haven't heard about it. This band Dred Zeppelin. These guys, the lead singer, he dresses up like Elvis Presley. He's a pretty big guy, and he even has the Elvis voice, and he sings in the Elvis style. They do all Led Zeppelin covers, but it's in a reggae type beat. Wow, that's pretty different. And they've got, of course, a few records out. This is the one I have. It doesn't get on the turntable that much, but when you want to hear something a little bit different, a little bit fun, there's something to throw on right there. That's pretty good. And then Huey Lewis in the News, and then we got some of these Gordon Lightfoot. If You Could Read My Mind, and the record that Edmund Fitzgerald's on this one, Sundown on there. Boy, that's some good music, some good listening there. And then I've got a couple of those Living Color records that come out. Those are good. And then I mentioned this earlier, Liquid Sound Company. And of course, this is like a limited press. There's maybe a couple hundred of these made for the world. But I like it. It's that kind of like psychedelic jams, like a lot of guitar music in it. It's good. Enjoy it. I listen to it. And this one too's got really good sound on it. This one here on the black vinyl. And I don't remember offhand who pressed it, but that's a good one. Okay. Next, is Niels Lofgren. This is a record called Cry Tough, and he had a band back in the early 70s called Grin, put out 2-3 records. They were pretty good, and then he came out with this. I think it was 76 he came out with this. Man, what a great record this is. This is one of the top 10 records in my collection that I really enjoy. This record, really good. Of course, I got it on the Japanese first edition, and he's of course gone on to play with some other bands. And Lord of the Rings, Bo Hansen, that's a pretty good record there. And here we go. You ever heard this band? It's called band called Love, and this is a this record here is called Forever Changes, and Rhino reissued this, and boy is it ever nice. Phenomenal, great record. They've got quite a few records up, but this one by far is the best one. And so I've got this one, and then this is their first one, Love's first LP, and it's a double record. It's got a couple really good songs on it. So I've kept this. This one here. Okay, what else we got? Got a little bit of Love and Rockets in there, and what's this? Mad Professor. Here we go. Here's one of the records. This is one of them gems right here, as far as I'm concerned. Lucifer's Friend. This is their first one. This is the only good one. I've listened to some other Lucifer's Friend. It's like they're not even the same band or whatever, I don't think. But this record here is really good. Now it's on that hard rock vein, early 70s, probably 72, something like that. But that's a standout record right there. And then here we go. This is another one of those swirls. This is more of a folk kind of music on this one. But Magna Carta, they've done a few, put a few swirls out, but this is the one I kept. This is a pretty good record right here. And then we go up to Manfred Mann. And again, here we go, one of them gems out there. Manfred Mann, Solar Fire. Have to give this a listen. This is another one of those top 10 records in my collection that I really love this record. I listened to it umpteen times, and I never get tired of it. Another Manfred Mann record that's pretty good is this Nightingales and Bombers. And then we've got Messin, Manfred Mann Messin. Those three, that's the three that I have. You know, Manfred Mann's put out a lot of records again, but if I'm going to listen to some Manfred Mann, that's all I need right there. And then we've got another band on the swirl again. This is May Blitz, and this is the 2nd of May, and this is their first one, this May Blitz, on that vertical swirl you see. Now this one is not on the swirl, this is a reissue, and on Stamp it's called, but this one's hard to get a nice copy of. There's not a lot of them out there. You go on eBay, and they're always dirty covers and tattered up, and you know, it's that old early 70s hard rock stuff, so you know, it was all kids were buying it, taking it to parties and that kind of stuff. So they're really hard to find nice. And if you can find a swirl like this that's in this kind of shape, that's going to be $300. People are going to be fighting over trying to get that because they're hard to find. Now this one here, this is the other Bay Blitz record, and I've got this on the Spaceship label. It's still in the shrink. It's pristine, really nice. And you know me, I don't want to spend $200-300 for records, so this is great for me. It's a little bit of John Cougar, Mellencamp there, and a little Metal Men at Work that have that, you know, barley sandwich stuff. And then speaking of that, another Australia band, Midnight Oil. I really like Midnight Oil. They're good. I've got a couple of them, like this one and Blue Sky Mining. That's a couple good records right there. And then Steve Miller Band. Now we're into Steve Miller, the Joker. It's a good record here. This is on one of those older kind of audiophile labels called Simply Vinyl, and that's good. They're a good label. Not the best, but they're really good. I really enjoy that label. Good sounding records that they put out. and they always had superior packaging on that Simply vinyl. And then I've got the Gotta Have Fly Like an Eagle. I used to have a Mobile Fidelity, this one. I got rid of it. This one here is, of course, pressed at RTI, and that's a good record right there. And then another Steve Miller Band record, Book of Dreams. I like that one. That's another good one. And then here's one. My sister really likes this record. It's called it's John Miles Rebel. I haven't listened to that for a while, but that's a good record. Then we got some Joni Mitchell. I just sold some Joni Mitchell on eBay here because I don't listen to them. But this one here I like. This one here's got some really good songs on it. I think this might be her first one because all it has is Joni Mitchell on it. And this is I think it's the first edition. And then my favorite Joni Mitchell record, if I didn't have any other ones, I'd be happy just with this, Court and Spark. And I've had some of these other reissues of this record that go for a lot of money, but really, this is the best one. This Rhino, they reissued it, and Is It Ever Beautiful? It's got all the raised lettering, all the embossed cover. It's a gatefold. I mean, it's better than new, as far as I'm concerned, especially the recording. It never ever sounded this good on any press ever. This is fantastic. And they're not that much money. You can probably go $20, $22 or so. You can still get these. If you don't have it, get it, because that's a great record. Go listen to it. You'll really be impressed. Okay, and as long as we're into Canadian people with the name Mitchell, Tim Mitchell, he's pretty good. And then we're gonna pull out some. Okay, here we go. This is Moody Blues, and this one, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. I used to have the Mobile Fidelity. They reissued it a few years back on a 200-gram record, and those records are pretty expensive. They're over $100 now if you're looking on eBay. And I bought this one. This is a first edition Japanese, and the way to tell the first editions, of course, if you don't have the OB strip on there, is all the first editions on that Threshold, it was a white label back in the day. You'll see a lot of the reissues are blue labels. You don't want the blue label. They'll be a little cheaper, but wait for that white label because the sound is so much better. And this Japanese edition, it's got a nice pebble cover. It's a gatefold. I mean, it's a really, really nice package on here. Your European and of course your domestics, they don't have that nice pebble cover like that. And the sound on it, I compared it to the Mobile Fidelity, and it's just as good or better than the Mobile Fidelity. So I sold the Mobile Fidelity probably $125. I picked this up for $25, and of course when you buy stuff out of Japan, the shipping's kind of expensive. So I usually try to buy 2 or 3 at a time from the same seller, so I can cut the shipping cost down per record. And then I've got these are all on Japanese. I got this one. And The Days of Future Past with the orchestra. Wow, what a great record! And it's on that dynamic sound system that they use. Sounds really, really good. These are all on the Japanese without the OB. And I got a really good deal on those records. That's why I got them like that. Okay, next, Van Morrison and Tupelo Honey is a really good record. If you haven't heard this, it's a good Van Morrison record. This has not been reissued yet that I know of. Of course, this is on the original press on the Warner Brother label. Good sounding record, but nothing like these Rhino reissues that came out. Moon Dance. This is probably about one of his best ever. And then his band and the Street Choir, another really good Van Morrison record. And they, of course, Rhino reissued these, and they had I can't never say enough good about Rhino. Again, better than they were right from the first, much better than originals. So those are the ones to get. We got this Moses, and then we got some Mott the Hoople, all the young dudes. If you're not familiar with this, they're kind of a glam rock, kind of like that David Bowie kind of style, and some really good musicianship, good songs. This one, This one has been reissued on that Music on Vinyl. That's a good record there. And then this is another Mott the Hoople record. This is another one of my favorite Mott the Hoople records right here. So there's three. Those three are really good. If you get a chance, go listen to that. That's some good music right there. Bob Mould, if you're familiar with him, they're from I think he's from Minneapolis. It's a good band there. Atlanta Miles. What else we got here? Okay, everybody loves the New York Dolls. You got to have a little bit of that in there. And the Nice. If you're not familiar with the Nice, Keith Emerson. That was his first band. You know, he's a great keyboardist, and they got some good tunes on there. So I've got this, you know, Best of the Nice. And 9 Inch Nails. Pretty Hate Machine. I really like this record. And then I ended up getting a few of the EPs off of that. Okay, now we're into Nirvana. And of course this is Bleach. And this is, I had the original. Not on the white vinyl. I had it on, I think it was on blue vinyl. But I sold that and I bought the reissue on white vinyl, the UK reissue, about 10 years ago. So that's the one I've got. And then Nirvana Nevermind. This is of course another really good Nirvana record here. And I had this one, or I had the original one. I paid like $12 for it. It still had the shrink on it, still had the sticker, $12 on it. And of course I played it quite a bit. You know, you get this record, it's pretty good. You listen to it quite a bit. But it was still in really, really nice shape. And I sold it on eBay, probably I think $150 for that record. And I bought this one. Now this one, there's a number of reissues of this, of course. This is on that ORG group, Original Recordings group. And this is on that blue translucent vinyl. I think it's a German press. And this is a limited edition colored. Doesn't say on here how many. But you know, it's right here, pressed at RTI. So yeah, you know that's a good record. And it, you know, everybody knows, and it sounds great, so I've got that. That's a good record to get. Unplugged in New York. That's another good record there. It's not another one of those simply vinyl reissues. And then we've got a little bit of that. Okay, here we go. Ted Nugent. I like Ted Nugent, but I like him with the Amboy Dukes. I don't really have anything after the Amboy Dukes I've got. This is a really good record here. Marriage on the Rocks, Rock Bottom. That's good. I picked it up. It's still sealed. I had one of these. I was going through the collection, and of course mine had that ring wear on there and that. So I found this on eBay. It's still sealed. So I haven't broke the seal yet on it. Just got it, I think, a couple months back. And then here's that more Ted Nugent. This is Journeys and Migrations. It's got that Journey to the Center of the Mind on it. That's a really good song. Old song. Ted Nugent. This is Stranglehold on here. Of course, that's probably his best song, Stranglehold. And then we've got the Amboy Dukes. This is Tooth, Fang, and Claw. That's really good. I really like that one. And then you've got Call of the Wild, Amboy Dukes. Well, that's some good Ted Nugent, Amboy Dukes music. And then we've got Tubular Bells. Wow, this is a really, really nice sounding record here. It's been reissued by a few different labels now. And this is the CBS Master Sound one that I've got. And it sounds great, so I'm happy with that. And I got a little bit of Roy Orbison. Mystery Girl, that's good. And then I've got this best of with all his older hits on it, so I've got all the Roy Orbison I need. And here we got one's called Ozark Mountain Daredevils. This is again Warner Brothers, great, or A&M I mean. That's on the A&M label. Great sound on this first edition that I've got. And this is if you want to get to heaven, you got to raise a little hell. Is on this one. And Chicken Train, the kids love that Chicken Train song that's on here. And then we've got a little bit of that Power Station. What else we got here? Tom Petty. You know how many records Tom Petty's got out? To me, he's only got this one out. This is the only good one he's put out, as far as I'm concerned. It hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I think this is a good record right here. Full Moon Fever. Of course.